We're going to take a journey into what are known as variation relationships, and I'll be using primarily this Google document, a little bit of Desmos, and some handwriting to help you work them out. We'll zoom in a bit here, and here's my intro. Since rational expressions allow us to compare polynomials to other polynomials in the form of fractions, also known as ratios, it's an ideal time to explore what are known as variation relationships. To vary means to change, and at their core, variation relationships are all about quantities that change in a very predictable way. As we work through the three major types of variation relationships, be patient in allowing the rational expressions to show up, right? We have to keep in mind that we're in the midst of an exploration on rational expressions and rational functions. So you might think, wait a minute, what's going on? Are we taking a detour? We're not. We're not taking a detour at all. This is an application of rational expressions and functions, so be patient. They will show up. I promise you that they exist, and it's fun to watch as they suddenly appear in the midst of our explorations ahead. Also, while this lesson will deal strictly with pure math problems, you're just going to be dealing with pure numbers. We will spend considerable time in class working through applied mathematics problems. So be ready for that imminent transition, and we'll go to the world of science and biology and economics. So you will see a lot of applied problems when it comes to variation relationships. First type of variation relationship we want to have a look at is known as direct variation. Excuse me, and it's symbolically represented by this equation here. This is an equation that you're going to get really familiar with. Y is equal to kx, where y varies or changes directly as x. So generally in an equation, we manipulate the input, the x value, and based on what we do to that x value, y has some change in it. That's exactly what's happening here. So where y varies or changes directly as x does, it's directly changing as x does, as dictated by the letter k, called a constant of variation. So I have a tendency to personify math concepts, and if I were to personify it here, I'd say, listen, x and y have a relationship, but the nature of that relationship is controlled by this puppet master here, the letter k, which we call the constant of variation. Now this equation should look familiar to you structurally because it looks a lot like y equals mx plus b, except that here that slope has been replaced with the letter k. It's no longer called a slope, it's called a constant of variation. And there is no b value, at least not explicitly, so it's actually always equal to 0. Excuse me. So these are very much related to linear functions. They're slightly different in the sense that that slope has been replaced by k, the constant of variation, and the y-intercept is always 0. So direct variation relationships always pass to the origin of a graph, and we will look at graphs at the end of this video, I think. So what does this all mean in plain English? Let's take another look at it. Well, here's an example. If we are examining the direct variation relationship, for instance, of y equals 3x, notice that I've left y and x as variables. I've replaced k with a number of my choice, 3. What is really happening mathematically? Well, as the values of x change, and remember we choose x values, we choose inputs, as the values of x change or vary, so will your y values. And the nature of this change is dictated by the constant of variation, in this case of 3. This constant of variation can be any number you can imagine: positive, negative, decimal, rational, irrational. As long as there is a constant of variation, it will control the nature of the relationship between x and y. Incidentally, some people call these direct variation, some people call these direct proportion relationships, where they will say where y varies proportionally as x, and you'll see why that is in just a few minutes. So let's continue with that example of y equals 2x, and let's just kind of see numerically what's happening here. So using this example of y equals 3x, let me highlight that a little bit again. I'm just looking at some specific inputs. What happens, for instance, when x is 2 in this relationship? Well, 2 times 3 is 6, so if x is 2, then y has to be 6. We're talking about the ordered pair 2, 6. Or if I replaced this x value with 3, then 3 times 3 is 9. We're looking at the ordered pair 3, 9, and so on. There are infinitely many inputs and outputs that we can get. What I want you to notice is that the nature of this relationship is always controlled by that constant of variation of 3. Cool. All right, let's see where we can take this. So how about that connection to rational expressions that was promised? Well, here comes the algebra part of it. To connect these concepts, we need to do what is frequently done in algebra. We need to generalize. We don't just want to look at one specific instance. We want to generalize. So let's do some writing here, and let's generalize. So the general equation for a direct variation is y equals kx. But what if we want to look at specific examples? In other words, what if we're looking at a specific y? So we use subscripts. So if I have a specific y, which I'm calling y sub 1, that's still going to equal the product of that constant of variation and some specific x value. So the beauty of this generalization is it covers any possible pair of x and y values. So that means that it's not just an x sub 1 or y sub 1. I could do this with a y sub 2 and an x sub 2, for instance. And from here I can derive this proportion that I was alluding to earlier. So let's say that in each of these cases we want to solve for k. I want to solve this equation for k and I want to solve this equation for k. Well, I'm going to use a little bit of basic algebraic manipulation. I'd end up with y sub 1 over x sub 1 is equal to the constant of variation here. And on this side, if I were to isolate the k, I'd divide by x sub 2, and I'd end up with y sub 2 over x sub 2 is equal to k. So hopefully you know something called the transitive property, where if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, while you may not have been explicitly told anything about the relationship between A and C, you should be able to deduce that, wait a minute, if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. That's the same logic we're going to exercise here. This is equal to K, this is equal to K. Well, wait a minute, this ratio and this ratio should be the same. Y sub 1 over x sub 1 should be the same as y sub 2 over x sub 2. We don't need to involve the k's anymore. This ratio is equal to this ratio, therefore we have just found a proportion. And this proportion describes what happens in direct variation problems. So, what have we done? We've basically made the connection between this world that we're in, this world of variation relationships, and the rational expressions that we've been studying. Here's the connection. Clearly we've got a rational expression here and here, which together form a proportion. And how do we use these ideas to actually problem solve? So with both, you've got two tools now if you think about it, with both a variation equation of y equals kx and a direct variation proportion of this in hand. We've got two different pathways for dealing with typical direct variation problems. So I want you to kind of really be aware of what I'm trying to communicate here, that for any given direct variation problem, you have a choice to make. The choice is, do you want to use this equation or do you want to use this proportion? And it's really dependent on the situation and what your preference is. So here's an example, and you have to read these quite carefully, but you will get accustomed to them. If some y varies directly as x, right away you want to pause and realize, okay, I know what kind of variation relationship this is. It's telling me that y and x, their relationship is a direct variation. Remember, there's three relationships, so your first objective is, what kind of relationship am I dealing with? Y varies directly as x, we're talking about direct variation. And then we're given specific values. We're told that y is 12 when x is negative 3. So you want to think of this as, okay, I've got a y value and I've got an x value, okay? So I could decide to choose to use this equation, or I might decide to use this proportion, in which case I could think of this as my y sub 1, and I could think of this as my x sub 1. It really depends on what avenue I'm going to pursue. So now they're saying find y when x changes. Well, remember, if x is changing, y is changing. So effectively what I'm being asked to do here is find y sub 2 when x sub 2 is equal to 16. You know, this is what it takes to read a question and to fully understand what's going on. It's a skill that we're developing in math class. So we're going to actually solve this problem using both of these tools. One of them is the equation, one of them is the proportion. We'll call them pathways 1 and 2. Let's say that this is path 1, where I've decided, you know what, I like this equation and I want to use it. I go to my problem and I see that, listen, when y is 12, x is negative 3. Now, I don't know what k is. I'm not told what k is, but notice that in this equation I can pretty quickly solve for it. So when I divide by negative 3, I find that the constant of variation for this particular problem is negative 4. Again, I was not explicitly asked to find that, but knowing that is powerful because now I know that the variation relationship equation is y equals negative 4x. And I can use this equation to decide, okay, I'm given another x value, and that x value that I'm given is 16. So what's going to happen when I find the product of negative 4 and 16? And the answer to that is you're getting a y value of negative 64. So this is one way to find a solution. This is a pathway where I've just used this equation and successfully come up with the missing y value. You may not like this pathway. You might decide, well, I'm not really interested in finding the constant of proportionality or the constant of variation, depending on what you call it, and I like the proportion method better, or it looks more appealing to me. So let me go ahead and erase pathway 1 and replace it with pathway 2. Path 2. And let's write this proportion. Incidentally, when you write this proportion, if you flip this ratio upside down, you would also flip this ratio upside down, and it would mean the same thing. So you will see this written in different ways, but the position of these values is not arbitrary. So just be cautious about that. So here we go. We're essentially going to plug and play and say, all right, my y sub 1 is the number 12. My x sub 1 is the number negative 3. This is why labeling was so important. I'm looking for another y value. I'm looking for a y sub 2 when x sub 2 is 16. And one of the easiest ways to solve proportions, not the only way, but one of the easiest ways is to recognize that you can use cross products. If you have a true proportion, then the product of, or the products you get when you multiply across should be equal, meaning that negative 3 times y sub 2 should be equal to the product of 12 and 16. And I think I've done the math ahead of time just so that I'm not wasting time looking for a calculator. But 3 times y sub 2 is equal to 192. And when you divide by negative 3, I think that's my cat meowing in the background, you get that y sub 2 is equal to negative 64. So that's the same outcome we got when we used the equation. And that concludes this particular video. At this point, we've explored one of the 3 kinds of variation relationships. In the next video, I'll explore what are called inverse variation and joint variation, very similar to what I did here. And then I'll conclude by showing you a graph of what all 3 of them look like. So I will see you at the next video.